we'd like to welcome Paul Snyder, Executive Vice President Stewardship of Tillamook County Creamery Association, or Tillamook Dairy as we sometimes refer to it, makers of all those good products. In fact, I'm happy to say that I have a cup of Tillamook yogurt almost every morning for breakfast, and I really enjoy it. Paul, welcome. And an interesting title, Vice President of Stewardship, and I understand that you've just issued your 2019 Stewardship Report. And as we looked at some of the information, I think dairymen would be interested to hear that part of sustainability is economic sustainability, and you've got a priority in your co-op to return to create returns for members. Tell us a little bit about that.
Look, we're 111 years old, and this cooperative was first formed for the economic sustainability and viability of our farmers. At the time when we were first put together, it was so they could find a way to pool their resources to make cheese so they could get dairy products, over a mountain range and into Portland before it's spoiled. These days, what it means is that our farmers participate in the profit of the company. And so they are both our suppliers, supplying us with milk, but they also then reap the profits after that milk is turned into cheese, ice cream, yogurt, butter, and a whole bunch of other things sold across the country. And then those profits go back to our farmer owners.
Well, that's a good situation, I'm sure, for your folks. We'll talk a little bit more about your sustainability report, but first I'd like to ask, as the pandemic hit, were you put in the same position as some other co-ops or proprietary handlers of having to ask your shippers to reduce the milk that they were sending you?
No, we were very, very fortunate, and it's just our luck, right? Most of our business, 9/10 of our business or more, goes to grocery stores. So we did not have any part of our business in the fluid milk market, none of our business in the fluid milk market, and a very low percentage of our business went to restaurants and food service. So we just never were in a position where we had to ask our producers to withhold production, lower production, dump milk, and we really, really felt for those other dairymen across the country that were forced into that position. It's really tragic. It's not what anybody in our business got into the business for, and it's just it's really, really an unfortunate thing. And like I said, we felt incredibly grateful that didn't hit us.
Well, with grocery stores being your primary customers, then you may have been able to take advantage of the consumer stocking and the real demand in grocery stores for dairy.
We did. Another way that we were very, very fortunate, the line that I've been saying a lot is, as people have been pantry stocking cheese and stress eating ice cream, we've been pushing product out the door as fast as we can. Luckily, that puts us in another fortunate position where, rather than worrying about how we need to find help for ourselves, since we are doing well, we've been able to focus outward from our cooperative and how we help other people. So we, as COVID crisis hit, we announced the launch of a $4 million COVID response plan, which was our direct support to our communities and our employees and our farmers and our other stakeholders and the people that were really negatively impacted by COVID. We wanted to be there for in any way possible, both with product, with financial support, and other things that we're doing in order to help them survive through this crisis and then hopefully recover from it.
Sure. Well, shifting gears to your sustainability report, it looks to me like there's several areas. You talk about people, you talk about the cows, and you talk about the environment or the communities that you operate in. Just hit a few of the highlights for the report this year.
Sure. So this report comes from our stewardship commitment. That's a commitment that our board voted into action in 2017. And that commitment has got 6 stakeholders that we have basically said we will take into account and try to promote, support, and drive the betterment of. So that's thriving farms, that has to do with our farmers, of course, healthful cows, enduring ecosystems, inspired consumers, enriched communities, and fulfilled employees. So those are our 6 stakeholders. And this report and the stewardship charter that it comes from is basically our man marking how we're doing against that commitment. And so that's when we talk about the things we're doing with regard to the environment. and the way that we're trying to lower our carbon footprint, the way that whether it's from carbon or whether it's from carbon sequestration on farm, lowering methane emissions, or things that we're doing in the plant, to stuff that we're doing in terms of animal welfare with our cows, to stuff that we're doing in order to support our employees, the things that we're doing for our consumers and the things that they want us to do. You know, we look at all of those stakeholders, and this report basically says, this is a stakeholder group that we're committed to because of our stewardship charter. Here's how we're doing the goods and, quite frankly, the imperfections in terms of the things we still have yet to do.
Well, we've heard lots of tales, especially here in the pandemic, of consumers being newly interested or more interested in farmers and where their food comes from. Talk a little bit about, I would think then that your stewardship report ties in beautifully with that effort to relate to consumers and your customers.
Yeah, you'll see in the stewardship report, we talk in depth about thriving farms and healthful cows. And we talk about what that means. We talk about the fact that our farmers really are the first stewards. You know, before there was ever a stewardship charter at Tillamook, we had our farmers who were stewards of the land, stewards of the cows. And so talking to people in a really very transparent and approachable way about what does it mean to be a dairy farmer in 2020, that's a big part of what we wanted to come across in the report. And bridging the rural-urban divide, because most of our customers are in urban areas, and of course we're a rural-based company, that's really something we see as a bit of mission for the company. So this stewardship report, along with a bunch of other communications we do throughout the year, both in social media channels, are meant to help our customers understand where their food comes from.
As you look ahead, and maybe it's a little tougher this year than some years, yeah. Where is this sustainability work going to take you? Do you see some important milestones ahead, or is it just kind of a never-ending process of improvement?
I think it's the answer to that either-or question to me is yes. So there's always continuous improvement. Again, that's a natural part of being a farmer. Is what, you know, what's the next thing I can do to just improve the farm? Whether it's painting a barn door to changing the whole way that you set up your milk parlor. So continuous improvement, whether it's in sustainability or anywhere else, is something that's a constant drive within our cooperative, and that's something we pay a lot of attention to, whether it's bringing in best practices or technologies from outside the cooperative, or if we have one of our 82 members who comes up with a great idea, how do we share that across the cooperative? So that continuous improvement always happens. Milestones that are happening are also coming. Milestones that will happen are also coming. You know, I think a lot about manure and the fact that manure has value in it. So we've had, for instance, in our plant out in Boardman gets a lot of its milk from 3 Mile, and 3 Mile, you know, digests its manure and turns it into compressed natural gas. You know, I'd like this to discover how we might power our truck fleet with that, so that we actually start to grab some value out of the manure. Because for me, you know, that kind of a milestone achievement is very in keeping with, quite frankly, a very farmer mentality, right? Don't waste anything on farm. So how can we drive more value out of manure to improve both our carbon performance and our economic performance? That's like a milestone that I would point to that we think about.
Sure, sure. Well, Paul, we don't have a lot of time today, but I do appreciate you taking some time in your schedule to just hit the highlights of this report. Where can folks find more about the report and also your mandate, if you will, for sustainability? Where can people find that?
Let's go to www.tillamook.com, and after you're done looking at all the pretty pictures of our cheese and ice cream that'll make your mouth water, you can go to our stewardship section. That's got a whole dedicated section that's not just where you can download the report itself. We've also got a report summary that's just a quick 4-page summary of what we've got in terms of our stewardship achievement and basically our stewardship ambition going forward. And then there's a whole bunch of other content in that section that tell the stories about what happens on farm, what happens in our plants, with our consumers, with our employees. So you can really get a sense of what Tillamook is about, not only today, but where we're looking to take ourselves in the future.
And then, of course, look for Tillamook in the dairy case in your neighborhood grocery store, too.
It's there, and if it's not there yet, it will be soon. We're growing all the time. So, yes, by all means, we hope people will find in these difficult times a moment of joy by having a little ice cream and a little cheese.
Indeed, indeed, and particularly with the Tillamook brand and the quality that we enjoy. We're speaking today with Paul Snyder, Executive Vice President Stewardship at Tillamook County Creamery Association. Thanks for being with us, Paul.
was my pleasure. Thanks for the time.
And I'm Joel Hastings with dairybusiness.com.